My name is Daniel Harris. I'm 36 years old, and until a few months ago, I thought I was living a decent life. I had a stable job as a network engineer, a beautiful house in the suburbs of Denver, and a wife I believed loved me deeply, Samantha. We'd been married for 8 years. We didn't have kids yet, but we were trying, or at least I thought we were. Sam had always said she wanted to build her career a bit more before we started a family, and I respected that. I was proud of her. She was a marketing manager at a tech company downtown, and she'd been working hard for a big promotion. I cooked dinner most nights because she usually came home late. I didn't mind. We had a rhythm, a comfortable pattern. Or at least, it felt that way. But sometimes, comfort blinds you. It started small. The first thing I noticed was her phone behavior. Sam had always been the kind of woman who left her phone lying around, face up on the table. If it buzzed, she'd check it without hesitation. But around 6 months ago, she started locking it more often. Even during dinner, she'd flip it face down. One night, I heard a notification go off around 11 p.m. while she was in the shower. It was a message from someone saved as A. I didn't mean to snoop. I really didn't. But something in my gut twisted. The preview said, "Can't stop thinking about last night." When she came out of the shower, I tried to keep my voice steady. "Who's A?" I asked casually. She froze for half a second, then smiled. "Oh, that's Alex. He's one of our new clients. We had a meeting last night. Guess he's just being friendly." I wanted to believe her. I really did. So I let it go. But that night, while she slept beside me, her phone buzzed again. The same contact. This time there was no preview, just one word. Miss you. Over the next few weeks, things started to change. Samantha began working late more often. Some nights she wouldn't get home until almost midnight. When I'd ask where she'd been, she'd sigh and say, "Daniel, it's just deadlines. You know how marketing campaigns are." But something in her tone, it wasn't stress, it was detachment. She also started paying more attention to her appearance. New clothes, new perfume, even lingerie tags I didn't recognize. I asked about them once, jokingly, and she said, "Oh, just some retail therapy. Don't overthink it." I wanted to trust her. I wanted to be the supportive husband. But trust is fragile. Once cracks form, it's hard not to see them everywhere. The real shift happened one Friday night. She told me she was going to a team dinner. I offered to pick her up afterward, but she declined, said they'd be moving between venues. Around 10:30 p.m., I texted her, "Hope you're having fun. Miss you." No reply. By midnight, still nothing. I called her twice, straight to voicemail. Finally, around 1:15 a.m., she came home. Her makeup was smudged, her hair messy. When she saw me awake on the couch, she froze. "Oh, babe, you're still up?" she said, surprised. "Yeah," I answered quietly. "Everything okay? You didn't answer my calls." She smiled awkwardly, sitting her purse down. "Sorry, my phone died. Long night. Everyone was drinking. I didn't want to drive, so I waited it out." Something inside me broke a little. Her phone was glowing in her purse, clearly not dead. The next morning, I woke up early. She was still asleep. My heart pounded as I reached for her phone. I shouldn't have done it. I know that. But I needed to know. I entered her passcode, the same one she'd used for years. It didn't work. She'd changed it. That was the moment I realized I wasn't paranoid. I was being lied to. I started watching her more closely, tracking little inconsistencies. She'd say she was at the office, but sometimes her location didn't match when she sent a photo or message. So I installed a simple Find My Device tracker connected to her Google account, one we shared for our smart home system. It wasn't spying. It was protecting myself from going insane. That next Thursday, she said she had a late meeting again. Her location showed a small hotel downtown. My stomach twisted. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, pretending to sleep when she came in, smelling faintly of whiskey and men's cologne. A few days later, I decided I needed proof. Not speculation, not suspicion, but undeniable evidence. I told her I'd be out of town for 2 days on a business trip. She smiled, almost too eagerly, and said, "Oh, that's perfect. I'll catch up on work." That Friday, I parked my car a few blocks away and waited. My heart was pounding like a drum in my chest. Around 7 p.m., a black Mercedes pulled into our driveway. A tall man stepped out, dressed sharply. He looked like the kind of guy who oozed confidence. He carried a bottle of wine. Samantha opened the door, in a silk dress I'd never seen before, and greeted him with a kiss that wasn't just friendly. They went inside, the lights dimmed. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I wanted to burst in right then, but I didn't. I needed more. I quietly walked around to the backyard, where the curtains were half drawn. Through the window, I saw them sitting close, laughing, touching. Then her hand went to his face, and his lips went to hers. That was enough. I took photos, videos, everything I needed. That night, I didn't go home. I stayed at a friend's place and didn't sleep a second. My thoughts were racing, rage, sadness, disbelief. I couldn't understand how she could look me in the eyes every day, say, "I love you," and still go behind my back like that. I thought about confronting her immediately, but then another thought crept in. What if I made her face herself? What if I let her feel what betrayal really means? So I made a plan. The next day, I sent her a text pretending I was still on my trip. She replied sweetly, saying she missed me and couldn't wait for me to come home. I almost laughed. That evening, while she was at yoga, I printed every photo I'd taken and left them on the dining table, along with a note that said, "You said you were working late. He works later." Then I packed my things and left. But no, being distant doesn't justify betrayal. There are conversations, therapy, fights, compromises, not affairs. I looked at her one last time. "I don't want excuses, Sam. I want honesty." She hesitated, then whispered, "His name is Alex. He's my manager." It started months ago after one of our work trips. It wasn't supposed to continue, but... She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. I already knew. I left that day without yelling, without smashing anything. That seemed to confuse her more than anything else. I wasn't going to ruin myself with rage. Instead, I wanted clarity and a sense of justice. For a week, I didn't contact her. She texted and called constantly, begging me to talk. I ignored every message. Then one day, I got a call from a private number. "Mr. Harris?" a woman's voice said. "This is HR from Velen Marketing. We received an anonymous email with some troubling content about 2 of our employees. We'd like to ask a few questions." I knew exactly what email they were referring to, because I sent it. I'd attached photos, dates, and messages, not out of revenge, but out of fairness. Alex, her boss, was married too. I figured his wife deserved to know. Within days, the company launched an internal investigation. Samantha was suspended pending review. Alex resigned to pursue new opportunities. The same week, his wife filed for divorce. And me? I just watched it all unfold silently. A few days later, Samantha showed up at my friend's house where I'd been staying. I almost didn't answer the door, but part of me needed closure. She looked awful, tired, hollow, nothing like the confident woman I had once known. "Daniel, please, you've destroyed everything." I crossed my arms. "No, you destroyed everything. I just told the truth." She tried to step closer, but I backed away. "Do you even love me?" Her silence said it all. "I thought I did, but I got caught up in something I couldn't stop. Alex made me feel alive, like I mattered again. And I didn't? Her eyes filled with tears. You did, but it was different. You were steady, responsible, predictable. He was exciting. There it was, the knife twisting. So you threw away a marriage for excitement. How's that working out for you? She broke down crying. Please, Daniel, I've lost everything. My job, my reputation, you. Please don't walk away from me too. I stared at her for a long moment, and for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger who had worn her face. I already did, and I closed the door. Months passed. Divorce papers were filed. It wasn't easy. Some nights, I'd wake up and still expect to see her beside me. Other nights, I'd replay every conversation we'd had, trying to spot the exact moment things changed. But slowly, the pain dulled. I started running again. I reconnected with old friends. I even joined a photography club, something I'd always wanted to do but never found the time for. One afternoon, while editing photos on my laptop at a cafe, I saw her. Samantha. She was sitting alone at another table, hair shorter, clothes simpler. She looked different, like a shadow of the woman I once knew. Our eyes met for a second. She gave a small, sad smile. I nodded politely and turned back to my work. Later, I got a message from an unknown number. I hope you're doing well. You look happy. I'm glad. I didn't reply. Some stories don't need an epilogue. It's strange. When you go through betrayal like that, people expect you to hate the other person forever. But truthfully, I don't. I don't forgive her, but I don't hate her either. Because hating her means she still has power over me, and she doesn't. What she did taught me something that changed my life completely. Love without respect is just illusion. Trust without honesty is self-destruction. Now, I don't see myself as a victim. I see myself as someone who finally woke up. The signs were always there. The late nights, the locked phone, the excuses. I just didn't want to believe them, because believing them meant my world would shatter. But sometimes things have to fall apart for you to rebuild stronger. Half a year later, I got an unexpected call from Alex's wife, the one who'd filed for divorce. Daniel, I just wanted to say thank you. For being honest, for letting me know what was going on. I left him, and it was the best decision I ever made. We talked for a while, about pain, about betrayal, about healing. And for the first time in a long while, I felt a strange sense of peace. We met for coffee the next week, and what started as shared heartbreak slowly turned into something else, something genuine. I didn't rush it. I wasn't ready for love again. But sitting there, laughing softly with someone who truly understood, I realized maybe the universe has a way of balancing things out. If you've ever been betrayed, you know the kind of pain that leaves you gasping. It makes you question everything, your worth, your memory, even your sanity. But you survive. You rebuild. And one day, you wake up and realize that the person who hurt you no longer defines you. Samantha taught me that lesson, not through love, but through loss. And as painful as it was, I'm grateful for it. Because without that betrayal, I'd still be living a lie. Now, when I look back, I don't see the man who was cheated on. I see the man who walked away and found himself again.